Since 2010, I have had significant issues with my pancreas. I have had minor procedures done to open up my bile ducts, place stents, and sphincters have been cut. I have been prescribed pancreatic enzymes to help break down the food I eat. These have been stopgap measures to try to keep my pancreas functioning. In 2010, I had a feeding tube placed. It was a disaster. In 2011, my tube feedings were stopped and I ended up on IV nutrition called TPN. Over time, I was able to regain the ability to eat by mouth and TPN was discontinued. I struggled to eat. I went back on a feeding tube again in 2017. It did not go well. I went back on TPN for a short while in 2018. I had more procedures done on my pancreas, and I once again regained the ability to eat by mouth. In February of 2020, my pancreas started acting up more and more. I started cutting out various foods. By November, all food, including fruits and vegetables, began aggravating my pancreas. I had to wait until December to see a GI doctor. He suggested getting a feeding tube placed into my intestines. This would hopefully rest my pancreas and allow me to get nutrition via the feeding tube. I was leery about this treatment option because previous tube feedings had failed. But if this is what the doctor wanted, and if this is what my doctor, who is an expert on the pancreas, recommended, I would comply. Several weeks ago, I had the feeding tube placed. The surgery upset my GI tract and made my pancreas extremely angry. After surgery, I had a pancreatitis attack when I tried to drink water. The feeding tube was tried on a very slow setting, but within an hour, my pancreas was roaring in pain and spasming. The feeding tube was trialed 4 times. Infusing at just 10 milliliters per hour caused severe pain. The tube feedings were stopped. Since having surgery, I can no longer tolerate eating solid food. Everything must be processed in a blender and made into a puree. However, even pureed food causes my abdomen to swell, my intestines to spasm, and my pancreas to erupt in pain. My GI tract seems to be in worse shape than what it was before getting the feeding tube. I want to be angry. I want to be upset. But I know God is using this situation to teach me lessons and show me things I need to understand. One of the biggest lessons I have learned is that my body cannot undergo surgery. In 2020, I had a portacath placed. That was a brutal procedure, and it did not go well. I ended up having the port removed. It took about 5 months for my body to recover. In 2017, I got a tracheostomy tube. That was an extremely easy procedure and took about a week to recover. Then, my next surgery was in 2014 when I had my intestines repaired from having a feeding tube. This surgery was a piece of cake and took several weeks to recover. And going back farther and farther, procedures and surgeries were relatively easy, and I recovered very quickly. Now my body is older. It takes more time for my wounds to heal. It takes more energy to overcome hurdles, obstacles, and health setbacks. Even small procedures take a tremendous toll on my body. Recently, I had an appointment with a GI doctor. He did not seem to understand the severity of my inability to eat and the pain I develop when I use my feeding tube. The appointment ended with the doctor wanting to get an MRI of my pancreas and liver. I was crushed. I thought the doctor would recognize the urgency of my need to get nutrition. I imagined the doctor would tell me I needed TPN. I imagined he would be shocked that I had lost 5 pounds in 2 weeks. I thought he would have some concern and empathy toward my rapid decline in health. But instead, The only thing the doctor wanted was a test which would take several weeks to set up. Then it would be many more weeks for a follow-up appointment. I was concerned. How long could I last in this state? A few days have passed. I am having severe shortness of breath. I can barely move, and then I gasp for air. I feel so weak. I feel as though I am going to fall over from fatigue. My chest aches. My heart hurts. I am startled by my rapid decline in health. My body is working hard to keep me alive, but my lack of nutrition is quickly depleting my body of essential energy. I am not sure what I should do. I'm trying to get the MRI scheduled, but since I use a ventilator, I need an MRI-compatible ventilator. This is a special ventilator which will not interfere with the magnetics of the MRI. I will also need a respiratory therapist present to manage the ventilator. It feels as though this will be a hard test to schedule unless I'm inpatient at the hospital. Moreover, my lack of nutrition is taxing my body. I am concerned if I do not receive IV nutrition soon, my body will fail. I am so tired. The only thing I can do is cling, cleave, and hold fast to God. He knows what's wrong with me. He knows I need nutrition. I have no doubt He can create a miracle. I so desperately need it. I wait. I hope. I pray. Thank you so much for joining me. Please remember to like and subscribe down below. I hope you have a great day and a wonderful week. Bye-bye.